Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, the podcast where merchant services, digital marketing, and personal growth collide. Tune in for real talk, fresh insights, and the motivation to level up.
Hey, good morning. I'm John Johnson, and welcome to Get Your Mind Right. Hey, folks, I got a really special episode teed up for you this morning. It's just you and me. And what we're going to talk about is something that is incredibly important. It's what I call the fourth quarter reset, how to end your year with a bang and go into 2026 with real momentum. And the reason I'm doing this is every year, the same quiet story creeps in around this time. November slows, December stalls, and then folks agree to just wait for January. Now, the story might sound comfortable, but it is false. Business owners don't stop needing top line revenue. They don't stop fighting churn or trying to build their bottom line margin here. The opportunity is still there, just waiting for the people who choose to show up. Hint, this is you. Now, in our organization, the past 2 years have proved this point. Because what has happened is some of our folks have reframed Q4 as a prime time. They've ran the process with intensity, and they saw momentum accelerate, not fade. And what they found is that meetings stacked up because outreach stayed consistent, and consistency wins. Referrals surfaced because customers felt supported when others went quiet. Deals closed because someone made the ask when the window was still open. Now, this difference here, it wasn't any sort of magic happening out in the market. This was mindset and it was execution. Now, this reset, it's simple to say, but does require some demands upon you to live. And here's what it is. It's show up early, show up often, and show up with a plan that removes friction from the buyer. Treat this fourth quarter as a decision season rather than a waiting room. Because when the calendar compresses, clarity and cadence win. And I want you to carry these three priorities into every week. The first is daily motion beats weekly intention. Second is timing logic beats generic follow-up. And the third is a clear first step will always beat complexity. Because even with the right mindset, the enemy we battle most in the fourth quarter is subtle. It doesn't come from the market. It comes from within, as in within you. And this is where we want to hold the line. Because when the narrative in your head changes, your pipeline is going to follow. Q4 is not dead time. Q4 is decision time. The only open question is whether you'll be the person who leans in while others lean back. Choose the sprint. Choose the standard. Choose to finish building a year instead of waiting to begin one. Now, if Q4 is a decision season, then motion is the signal that cuts through the noise. That brings us to the first lever here, and that is movement with precision. Because the fourth quarter, it's full of all kinds of false signals. It's going to whisper comfort to you. It's going to say things like, she's traveling. She's probably not in. She'll circle back to you soon. Or she'll want to talk again in January. Now, these are cues that slow the average rep down. But the best, they do not entertain these at all. They keep moving. Excuses, they don't need to be fixed. They need to be outpaced. Because what you're going to find is that small steps compound. A pipeline doesn't clean itself up, doesn't clean itself out. And clarity doesn't come from waiting. Each touch, each call, each step matters more now than any other time of the year. So how do we do this? Well, you start with motion and then you start to tighten up on your process. Don't let these fuzzy maybes or checking back slow you down. Get real about your pipeline. Clear out the dead weight. Force yeses or nos when possible. If someone's not moving, just say it. Hey, Bob, totally fair if this isn't a priority. But give me clarity here, and I'll focus on something else. Now's the time to show a sense of urgency. Now, there's all types of prospects in this category. Companies that can save a bundle by moving to dual pricing. Companies who cleaned up listings will find new customers. Companies who freshen their digital presence that will pump up their bottom line. You're having a difficult time getting them to move. And this is where that sense of urgency comes in. Now, you may find some of these moves a bit bold. It's because they are. You are quite literally telling the customer how it is. I might say, Bob, what changes between now and January that helps you solve this problem? Or, Bob, are you solving this in Q4 or are we going to lose Q4? Or, Bob, if the budget's tight, what's the easiest version we can launch right now? What you're going to find here is that speed closes the distance because every delay is a chance for momentum to slip. Do not fall into this trap. Commit yourself to same day follow ups. Commit yourself to fast one page recaps, to short videos. Send the next steps before they ask. Speed does not mean rushing, it means being first, clear, and helpful. That's what helps make buyers move. By not creating urgency, you are confirming to your prospect that taking no action is the best course of action. Okay, I want to say that again. By not creating urgency, you are confirming to your prospect that taking no action is the best course of action. Let me explain this. Let's say you've pitched buyer's choice to a customer and you're saving them $1,000 a month. Well, they want to think about it and they won't wait until after the first year. So 3 months passed and they've wasted that $3,000 they're never going to get back. On the other hand, by the time you reach out to them, likely by an email, they will likely have forgotten the whole value and what your pitch was about. Now, on the other hand, they're still in business and your decision maker, well, they're still alive. They haven't died. So did they absolutely, positively have to have what you were pitching? You see what the trap is here. By not creating urgency, you are confirming to your prospect that taking no action could be the very best course of action. Now, this isn't about hard selling. This is about clarity, precision, and movement. Every hour counts. Every next step is either building your fourth quarter or dragging it down. Your job is to own the clock, stay in motion. But motion alone, it's not enough. Because in December, we cannot get around this one. That calendar, well, it creates friction. And the holidays give buyers a built-in reason to pause. And this is where that pitch has to flip. Now, holiday stalls surface because buyers feel overwhelmed and assume new initiatives are going to add to the chaos. That is the status quo. The way through is not pressure. It's reframing that honors their reality and shows how action now reduces rather than increases stress. Now, the flip begins with agreement. Bob, I understand you got a lot of plate spinning there right now. This is why we should talk today. And then adding timing logic that changes to the cost of waiting. Bob, what happens to your margin if nothing changes now between now and the time of the rush? If this checkout friction continues through December, how many orders are you going to slip away? How much is this going to frustrate your staff here? When the buyer pictures and internalizes the consequences of waiting this stall, well, you're going to find it's going to lose its iron vice-like grip. The next thing is to use specific seasonal angles that transform the abstract into the immediate. For digital visibility, for example, anchor to local search and event traffic, because most of that holiday foot traffic is going to be driven by search during the next few weeks here. A small update to listings, hours, and promotions ensures that merchants capture it. Now for payments, anchor to volume and savings. Your merchant is about to process more transactions than any other time of the year. Any improvement made now multiplies in value during the rush. And lastly, if you're pitching a digital bundle, anchor to simplicity. We'll activate only what helps you this season and revisit the rest in January. Now, the flip works because it aligns with the buyer's emotional state. They want fewer headaches, faster throughput, and clean execution. And when you present a decision that accomplishes these goals, the holiday becomes a reason to move rather than a reason to delay. Keep your language plain and the steps small. Say, hey, Bob, we can finalize this today, schedule the install for next week, and have you fully ready before the next weekend's crowds. Your key is to replace later with lighter and sooner with simpler. And you'll find that the stall dissolves when action sounds easier than waiting. Now, once you've gotten this mindset shift under your belt, next step is making the decision easy and easier. That's where bundling turns complexity into clarity. Complexity is the velocity killer in fourth quarter. Buyers don't want to evaluate, they don't want to ponder, and they don't want to sweat while keeping a business running at maximum speed. They want a clear and easy next step that maps to their current pressure. And when you propose a bundle, this translates capability into season-ready packages. Present 3 levels that scale in scope and timeline without requiring a procurement exercise. You might start, for example, with digital with a focus on a website and listing cleanup so the local demand will find their business and they get them the correct information. Now, growth adds social rhythm to keep offers visible during the gift buying window, and you might offer a pro package. This layers in paid traffic and conversion improvements, so every visit has a better chance of becoming revenue. Now, the key here is to frame these bundles as business outcomes rather than technical features. And the conversation is not about ads or plugins. It's about foot traffic. It's about cart completion. It's about call volume and time saved. Use these calendar anchors to highlight urgency without the drama. You've got Black Friday, you've got Small Business Saturday, you've got Cyber Monday, and then those final 2 shopping weekends that do not move. And the earlier that you lock in, the more your merchant captures. If the budget's tight, that's all right. Start with a phased approach that activates the highest leverage items this month and schedules the rest for early January. A smaller start is far superior to a beautiful plan that never ever goes live. Now, next thing I want you to do is to really focus on proof points, because what this does is this compresses time and builds trust. Share a sentence about a similar business that implemented a bundle quickly and saw measurable improvement in calls, visits, and or in order size. Buyers, they don't need a case study lecture in December. They need a line that tells them the move is safe and effective. Close in on a calendar commitment with clear ownership. Say, hey, Bob, I'm going to send you a 1-page summary. You can confirm the preferred bundle, and we'll schedule the install. The simplicity you will find will speed up decisions dramatically. That is the very point of bundling. It makes it a yes easy when everything else seems so complicated and hard. Now, to be sure here, bundling answers the what. But smart reps, well, they also anchor to win. The clock and the calendar matter. That's when the budget urgency becomes your next advantage. Because every business lives inside a financial calendar. For some, it's the fiscal year that ends in December. And for others, it's a set of quarterly allocations that get reviewed and reset in January. Either way, Q4 carries a universal reality. There are budget lines that expire, discretionary dollars that vanish if not used, and deferred projects that finally need resolution before the year turns. Now, this reality, it's not a gimmick to exploit. It's a responsible lever pull. When you show up with timing awareness, you're not asking a business to spend because they must. You're offering them a chance to invest money they've already planned to use in ways that produce measurable returns. Now, the pressure of budgets can paralyze some decision makers. They fear wasting funds or making rush choices. This is where you come in. Your job is to reframe that year-end conversation as a smart, safe, and strategic step. You do that by connecting budget timing to operational timing. Instead of, hey, let's get this done before December ends, you say, this is the perfect window because your spend can go to work while traffic is highest, giving you a double payoff, which is year-end efficiency and January momentum. Your discovery questions, they also have to be simple, natural, non-intrusive, and reflective of what's going to drive the bottom line here. Try, hey, Bob, do you have funds earmarked that need to be used before year end? Or are there projects that got pushed earlier this year that we can tackle now while the budget's still available? Or, hey, Bob, would it help if we scoped out a phased-in plan that protects this allocation today and schedules the balance of the expansion in January? Guys, if these questions sound bold or intrusive to you, they're not. These are questions that your buyer, your decision maker, is customarily being asked a lot. Incorporate these into your talk tracks. Now, next point here is bringing proof that year-end spending is not wasteful, but powerful. And you can frame these year-end investments as protective moves. There are ways to secure revenue that would otherwise leak. And buyers resonate with that logic. They don't feel like they're blowing money. They feel like they're locking in gains. December closes, they're not accidents. They're the results of helping businesses use resources already in their hands to finish with confidence and start that next chapter that is 2026 with momentum. Now, All of these things being said, even with the right offer and the right timing, buyers stall. Not out of disinterest necessarily, because they're overloaded. And this is where that final push must feel like relief, not pressure. Because momentum is the outcome of your decisiveness, not chance. As Q4 pressure builds, buyers freeze, not because they're uninterested, but because they're overloaded. Inertia sets in when they feel like everything is too much. Your role is not to push harder here. It's to simplify that path and remove friction from the decision. Frame every outreach with one goal: reduce decision weight, offer smaller steps, clear anchors, cleaner paths to say yes. With all these things in mind before every call, I want you to ask yourself, given this time of year, am I making it very easy for my prospect to say yes? Instead of talking quarterly outcomes, talk about what they can act on this week. Try one of these. Hey, Bob, what's one thing we can activate this month that lets off pressure for you in December? How about, Bob, what's the lowest lift version of this we can to implement to move forward together? Or, Bob, if this is still a priority, what step gets us one layer closer without making you take on more? This is how you beat year-end fatigue. You don't charge through it. You sidestep it. You become that person who brings relief, not extra work and extra stress. Because when your emotion is clean, calm, and confident, you're going to find that people are going to want to follow you. This anti-inertia play, it's not noise. It's clarity. Send the shortened plan. Heighten what must be done now. Push everything else into January. Be that person who says, I've already simplified this for you. Here's what it looks like. Because your buyers, they're going to remember ease. This is what breaks stalls and builds trust. Your final push doesn't have to be aggressive, just has to be frictionless. I'll give you a good example. I looked at a product a few years ago called Slack. Talked to the sales rep, and I was sold on it. It was a done deal. We started talking about implementation. He said, oh, well, you're at the size you're at self-implementation. Okay. What does that look like? Well, he walked me through that. And effectively, I was going to be in charge of the implementation, getting all our team on board with it and getting out the training. It was a non-starter. So I said to the guy, I said, look, I'm willing to pay your good people to come in and train our folks. I'm sorry, you just thought you don't have enough subscriptions to qualify for that. You know what? It's been 5 years ago, and I still don't have Slack. It killed the deal. This is something I needed, wanted, had the checkbook out, had the pen ready, and the deal got killed because they could not solve my problem for me. Now, before we move on here, as many reps crowd around retail, while you can be successful in this space, obviously very successful, there are other avenues. And there's a quiet lane wide open, and it leads to B2B and non-retail buyers planning for next year right now. Targeting non-retail and B2B opportunities in Q4, this could be your ticket, because not every business lives and dies by the holiday shopping rush. In fact, some of the very best Q4 opportunities sit with businesses that aren't fighting retail crowds at all. Think contractors, B2B service providers, professional offices, logistics companies, manufacturers, niche operators. The list goes on and on. Busiest seasons are not November, December, which means right now they're often easier to reach, more open to conversation, and actively planning for the year ahead. Additionally, a lot of manufacturers plan shutdowns around the holidays. This means that businesses that supply them services, by definition, are slower. Well, here's your reality. While retail storefronts are flooded with customers and managers who can barely breathe, many B2B and non-retail operators are running steady, but are not slammed. Their phones aren't ringing off the hook with holiday orders. Their staffs, they're not working double shifts. This creates rare accessibility. This means your calls get answered. Appointments are easier to book. Decision makers are sitting at their desks, reviewing budgets, considering upgrades, and laying the groundwork for January. And then when you step into that open space, you're going to find conversations that are calm, thoughtful, and more forward-looking. And this is a moment to frame yourself not as a holiday helper, but as a strategic partner for the new year. And the language shifts. Instead of saying, hey, let's get you ready for Black Friday, you say, let's set you up for a stronger first quarter. Instead of you saying, hey, you're going to lose December traffic without this, you're going to say, While it's quieter, we can implement without disruption so you're live when your busy season starts. This means positioning your pitch around planning, preparation, and execution capacity. You are solving next quarter's headaches now while they still have bandwidth. Now, your scripts can make this distinction very clear. Bob, most of my retail clients right now, they're buried. I wanted to check in because this is often the perfect window for B2B firms like yourselves to get ahead of January before things speed back up. You got staff capacity now, so you're not going to have in March. So let's use this time to get systems updated so you're up running faster when demand hits. Here's another one. Bob, many businesses use December as their planning month. What's that one initiative you want off your plate before January? I can help you knock it out now. And I also want you to remember, this is very important. These conversations often lead to bigger deal sizes because that buyer isn't distracted by daily fires. They're in a planning mode, which means they're thinking broadly about efficiency, positioning, and growth. Now, if you approach with urgency plus foresight, you can find that Q4 is not only about closing retail, it's about planning and even harvesting in the B2B fields that others ignore. Targeting non-retail clients in December, this gives you two huge advantages. Number one, you get accessibility today, and number two, you're getting pipeline strength tomorrow. Two things that make everyone, and I mean everyone, happy. Retail may dominate the headlines this time of year, but the smart rep diversifies their push and finds wins where others aren't even looking. Now, here's your last big advantage, and it is scarcity. And we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the overwhelming majority of merchant services and digital marketing reps go into semi-vacation mode in November, December. And B2B, you have that perfect storm of your customer being less busy while your competitors are putting less pressure on him. This only happens one time a year. Do not squander this opportunity because when you're closing retail or you're planting B2B seeds, one thing is true. December, it's not the end. It's the opening move for Q1. Q4 isn't over, it's just heating up. This is not the time to wind down. This is the moment to finish what you started and turn every ounce of motion you built into a lasting impact. December isn't a wall, it's a window. It's a short, defined stretch where urgency, emotion, and opportunity are all working in your favor. If, and only if, you're sharp enough to use them. Hey guys, you got a compressed calendar here. Clear plays and full permission. You have to execute with speed and precision. Every tool's in your hand. You've got limited time bundles, you're in budgets, quieter inboxes, faster installs, and buyers planning ahead. The table is set. You have to pull out a chair and sit down at it. This isn't just about closing the year. It's about building January in real time. Every call you make, every deal you close, every goodwill touch you create now will echo into Q1. Installs you finish before year end are going to turn into testimonials. The trust you build while others check out will become your edge. That's the 2-for-1 power in this fourth quarter. Another thing here, this isn't just tactical, it's psychological. There's a different energy when you end a year sprinting instead of coasting. Momentum creates confidence, and confidence is going to sharpen your execution. Folks that finish fourth quarter with motion don't second guess themselves come January. They attack. They've already been training. They trust the process because they've refined it and they're seeing it work. They carry their stories, their momentums, their December wins into that new year. Guys, this momentum, it is crucial. Run your playbook and finish the year strong. What's this look like for you in January? Well, you're going to feel great because you got that momentum and you've been packing on muscle in the fourth quarter. And those folks who took a semi-vacation or full-blown vacation the last 2 months of the year, well, they got problems because atrophy has already set in. They were maybe working on their New Year's resolutions, and by January 5th, they're already making excuses on why they're not going to be able to do it. Don't let this happen to you. Let the other guy coast through the holidays. You're going to sprint through them and step into 2026 already in stride. Hey, folks, at the end of the day, this isn't about chasing something that's extraordinary. It's about showing up every day with a clear plan and executing it. That's it. That's how you finish strong. That's how you lead the market, and that's how you win the year, and you start the next one already ahead. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you got any comments for me, as always, drop in the box. I love to hear from you. And please do me a favor, smash that subscribe and like button here. I'll see you here Friday on Get Your Mailbag. Get Your Mailbag. I was going to Get Your Mailbag Right, the Mindshare edition. How about Get Your Mind Right, the Mailbag edition? See you here on Friday. Thanks for tuning in.